living in the extremes, it's kind of like you're either doing nothing for your health or you're trying to do everything at the same time. The whole restriction thing is literally you working against yourself. Willpower, when it comes to eating, is a myth. The skinny at any cost is going to cost your muscle mass. And your muscle mass is so important for your health. The psychology of it is just so interesting and it is so mind-blowing because when you change how you think, you absolutely change your behavior.
Manoella Campello is a dietitian with such an important approach to nutrition, grounded in balance, behavior, and freedom. If one of your goals this year is to become healthier, I recommend you do not skip this episode. Joining us today at the Adults Table is Manoella Campello.
So, Manu, what are you bringing to the table today?
Oh my God, I love this question. I'm actually bringing a whole new perspective on the fitness journey. I'm not gonna say I go against everything everyone is saying about what you should do to lose weight or to gain muscle, but I do bring different perspectives on what you should do and how you should do.
What's the foundation of what you believe in?
So, okay, backstory, so you can understand where I'm coming from. I I got into nutrition school when I was 17, so I was pretty young, and I had started my fitness journey about, like, a year before that, because I did an exchange program in France, and obviously, like every exchange program, I gained some weight. When I got back to Brazil, I realized that I wasn't happy with my body. That had never happened before. I saw myself different. I saw all my clothes not fitting me. So I started to dive deep into the nutrition world and I started with the very basics like count your calories, not macros, but like count your calories basically. And then I decided that I was going to go into nutrition school. And throughout my 4 years, I was literally doing what everyone tells you to do. Just restrict yourself, train hard, count your calories. Then, yes, I went to counting my macros also. And I realized at like the very end of school that yes, I wanted to be like, I wanted to look better, but at the same time, I was also looking to be healthy. And I was not healthy at all. I was stressed out most like in the most part of my day, like the biggest part of my day, I was feeling stressed out. I was nervous about what would be my next meal or how many calories it would have. Or if I skipped my workout, then I would have to double it the next day. And I was constantly stressed out. And guess what? My body was not responding to all the crazy diets I was trying to do. So it was so frustrating because there was so much effort and very little result when it comes to like the aesthetic part and no results when it comes to like the mental health because our mental health is also part of our health and it didn't make sense to me. So I remember I was lying on my bed and I was thinking, okay, I am pursuing this healthy life, but I don't feel healthy, so I'm doing something wrong. And then that's when it all shifted for me because I started to do things differently. I started to look at things differently. And this is literally where all my work started.
When that shifted for you, what were the points that connected? Like, what are the dots that connected that you're like, okay, if this doesn't work, then what does?
Okay, so we have an expression in Portuguese that it's always on my mind. We usually say, I'm so okay, let me try to say this in a way that makes sense because I don't know how to say it. If you have the expression, just let me know.
Okay, which one?
We say a lot that we are like 80 or 8. or 8 or 80. That means we are living in the extremes. And this is what I was living by, and I think this is what a lot of people is going through. They go through this, like, phase, and sometimes the phase lasts, like, years, and they think that this is the only way to be healthy. Let me break this down. So, living in the extremes, it's kinda like you're either doing nothing for your health or you're trying to do everything at the same time. Like, when I left my exchange program, I was overeating, I was not exercising, I was not doing anything, like no efforts. I wasn't trying to drink more water. I didn't even know how important sleep was. I wasn't doing anything. And then when I got into the fitness world and I learned that all these things were important, I was trying to do all of them at once. There was no in between for me. There was no little steps. Okay, let me understand how I can change this. Okay, let me understand what are my preferences. What is something that it just doesn't come as easily for me, or what is something that I actually feel like I could do today. I never took the time to really understand myself. I was just trying to follow these rules that the diet world tells you to follow. And that means going from this extreme to this extreme. So you're just going from point A to point Z and you're not going through the B, C, D, E. Like, and that's what switched for me. I was literally trying to meet myself in the middle and go through all the baby steps that I needed to go to literally change, because it's not like only your food intake that's going to change. It's not your eating routine or your eating habits that's gonna change. It's your mind first, how you see, so your whole perspective of this, like, f like, fitness journey. I say fitness journey, but to be honest, it's just our life journey, because I don't think there's ever gonna be a point that we're just gonna wake up and we're gonna be like, "Yeah, you know, I achieved my goal and I don't need to do anything else." So, what do you mean? What do you mean? You're just gonna stop living, or you're gonna stop worrying about what you eat? No, we're always gonna be worried. We're always gonna be taking care of ourselves, putting in the effort to feel good, not only to look good. And that was the thing that switched. I was very worried about how I looked all the time. I was not paying attention. I was not taking the time or energy to really understand how I was feeling in the process and how I was supposed to be feeling in the process. Again, we're pursuing a healthy lifestyle, but if we're stressed out all the time, feeling restrictive, not happy, angry because we're just hungry and we're craving stuff that we're not allowed to eat, obviously you're gonna feel bad and you're not gonna be healthy. So you're pursuing something, but you're achieving literally the opposite. So what changed was trying to meet myself in the middle and not care so much only about my image, but also how I was feeling in the process.
When you try to move to an extreme to the middle, how do you do that without feeling guilty for not being at one extreme, or not feel like you're missing out or on something, or even trusting yourself to be in the middle? Because what I feel like happens sometimes, and that happens to me all the time, is I want to be in the middle. I want to live a more, like more balanced lifestyle. But when I do so, I'm like, okay, I know myself. I know that if I eat one piece of chocolate, I'm gonna eat 10. So I eat one piece of chocolate, I already have that in my mind. Like I'm already like fighting against it because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to that extreme again. So I'm afraid of that extreme. And then all of a sudden, okay, I ate the whole chocolate bar, like the whole, I don't know. So
I
how do
know.
you not like how do you move to that place, but also, break from that feeling of guilt or being afraid of yourself even?
I love this question. I love it so, and I have so much to say, so stop me if it sounds confusing. First of all, like how I went through the process, and I like to emphasize that because we are different. People are different. And this is something that we we don't usually think about when we're in this journey. Sometimes we see someone saying something and we're like, okay, this is what's going to happen to me. Like, no, you are different from that person. Like, even if we're talking about, like, for example, I lived with my mom for a long time. She's my mom. Like, I have her genes. She raised me. We are living in the same household, but we are doing completely different things. And she has a healthy lifestyle. I have a healthy lifestyle. She's happy with her body. She's happy with like her health and same, but we're doing different things. So comparing yourself is just not it. We're not going to do this here. So everything I say about me, remember it's me and I will offer you different perspectives on how you can apply that to yourself. So what I kind of went through to break from this pattern, I was tired, so I think that counts because I went into the mentality of, can I say bad words? I was like, fuck this shit. I don't care about restricting myself anymore. Every time after lunch, like in Brazil, we have those like big lunches, like the
Massive. Yeah.
and yes, you're gonna eat rice, beans, salad, vegetables, potatoes, like farofa. Then after lunch, it's literally our biggest meal of the day. That's the moment that like we take a break, we eat with our family. Like it's a good moment. And I was so stressed out after lunch because I always wanted to eat something sweet. And in my mind is like, oh, I can't eat sugar. Oh, sugar is bad for me. I'm not gonna lose weight if I eat sugar. And then when I got into this like, fuck this shit phase, I said, you know what? I'm gonna eat my chocolate after lunch. I don't care. And there is a part of you that need, and I maybe every part of you need to trust yourself. Because if you don't have confidence in your journey, you are gonna be first comparing yourself with other people, and you are never gonna be consistent with that new thing that you're trying to apply in your life. And we have to remember that we go through phases. Like what you're doing today, sometimes you're doing this because let's say that you are in point A, and for you to get to point B, you need to do something a little different. But if you change it so much, you're going to go from B to like T. So, wait, what? Sometimes you need to go through the steps. And when I say go through the steps, in the beginning, when you are freeing yourself from the restrictive mentality, you're going to overeat a little. So I had a strategy to eat my like my portion of sweets every day. So I would always get like a small, like a teacup or a small plate and the smallest spoon I had in my house, and I would scoop like some Nutella and put it in the like either the plate or the teacup. And that would be my portion for the day. That was the beginning of it. And it wasn't my portion of the day. I used to go back to the kitchen like 5 times a day to get myself some more, but I would always train like eating slower, actually enjoying the moment. Because if you restrict something in your mind, like you tell yourself, I can't eat chocolate. Chocolate is bad for me. When you eat chocolate, what are the chances of you eating a small amount and feeling satisfied? You've been restricting yourself for so long. That thing is like scarce. You don't have it. So when you have it, our mind is like, wait, I need to eat more of this because I don't know when I'm going to get the chance of eating this again. You're already overeating for the restriction you're going to have in the future. Like it's great. The psychology of it is just so interesting and it is so mind blowing because when you change how you think, you absolutely change your behavior. So, and I love this I don't know if it's a metaphor, I don't know how to call it. But and I learned this from my therapist and she was talking about relationships, but I love how it applies to nutrition as well. Let's think about bananas. Bananas are a type of fruit that you can find basically anywhere you go. Like, yes, some bananas are different, but you kind of have bananas everywhere. Okay, they're good. They're there. You know, they're there. You're not gonna see it. It's hard to see someone that is, like, crazy about bananas. But then, let's talk about berries, and I'm gonna say berries because we are from Brazil. We don't have berries all year round. They were very limited, at least when I was living in Brazil. You had that specific time of the year that you could get berries, and I'm gonna say strawberries because I love strawberries, and I would wait literally all year round for that time of the year when strawberries are good and sweet and they're there and they're at a good price. And when I came to live in America, because strawberries are here available all year round, I really don't care that much about them anymore. They're just there. And it's the same feeling when you have this perspective with sweets or whatever food you like that you limit yourself from eating, that you restrict yourself. When it's available, you're just like, okay, I can eat it literally whenever I want. It doesn't mean that because you have this way of thinking that you're gonna eat it all day. You don't wanna eat that all day. And it's interesting to think like this. And then I remember I have a friend that she owns a bakery. And we were in nutrition school and she had already opened her bakery. And I was living, remember, I was living the counting your calories and no sugar and low carb. And that was the life I was pursuing. And I told her, I'm like, how do you do it? Like, how do you bake all day and you're still like thin? You don't overeat, you don't have a problem with it. And she's like, I'm actually tired of it. I'm sick of it. When I smell like brigadeiro or chocolate or cake, I am so sick of it. Because it's there. It's just there for her. It's available and she doesn't restrict herself from it. So she can eat it whenever she wants. And it's crazy when we open more space for this, like when we actually like when we stop restricting ourselves, we have way more space to literally understand what we are really craving. Because sometimes you just want something because you can't have it. So you're gonna be constantly thinking about that. It's that same thing of like me telling you, hey, do not think of a pink elephant. I am pretty sure a pink elephant just came up in your mind right now because I told you not to think about it. Stop thinking about that pink elephant. Come on, stop. And it's coming up. So you got to understand how our mind works. And when you switch how you think and how you see and how you live that like fitness wellness life, you're going to work for you, not against you. The whole restriction thing is literally you working against yourself. Cuz think with me. Willpower when it comes to eating is a myth, okay? Because willpower is not like a muscle. We train and it gets stronger and it gets more resistant. No, it gets actually depleted so quickly. And science doesn't really understand why this happens, but it happens. And think with me when you are restricting yourself, it's not one decision you're making, like, oh, I'm not going to eat sugar today. You are having to make this decision multiple times a day. You're gonna have to make this decision when you wake up and you drive to work and you see a Starbucks drive through and you're like, nope, I can't have my morning coffee anymore because there's sugar in it. And then you get to work and your coworker brings a cake or whatever, and you're like, I can't eat sugar. And you're just having to say no every time and our mind gets so tired of making this decision. So it's so easy to deplete willpower. And then you think you are the problem, you are weak, and you don't have discipline, and you can do anything that you set yourself to. And then you start thinking bad about yourself. And it's a hole, it's a black hole that you're getting yourself into, and nothing good is gonna come out of it. So what is the point? Like, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. But it's not easy, it's not smart, it's against our nature, and we still think that we are the problem. The system we created is the problem. That's why it's so hard. So, I told you I was gonna talk a lot, I'm so
It's
sorry.
so helpful. This is so helpful. I never thought about it that way because I do have that mindset sometimes that I'm eating and it feels like that it's the last meal of my life when I'm
Mm,
eating like like a Nutella, your example. I'm like, "Well, it's like, I gotta eat as much as I can." It feels like it's in my mind, I'm not thinking, "Hey, this is the last meal of my life," but my body, that's how it behaves. It's like, "Okay, I need more," and I never thought about, I love the bananas and strawberries example because I think it's so accurate. Um,
it is.
what do you think about shortcuts in this whole process?
There is a consequence to everything. And I say that we have like an internal scale. So you gotta look at yourself, your life, your context, and think about the shortcut you're wanting to take. To be honest, if we are talking about a shortcut when it comes to like the body composition changes, or yeah, I want to look better and I want it to be quick, like, why? I get it when we are feeling bad about ourselves. It's hard looking at yourself in the mirror. It's hard looking at yourself in a picture. It's hard trying anything on because nothing really fits you the way you would like. It's hard to try on new things because you're either having to get a like a bigger number, or you just don't like how things like how the new clothes fit, and it's just uncomfortable. But it took you some time to get there. And the only thing I am against when it comes to shortcuts, it's because I don't think you can change your mind fast enough or go through the process that you need to go to really sustain that change in your life. Okay? So for example, when you said shortcuts, the first thing that came through my mind was the like Ozempic and the medications for like weight loss. They're actually out there to treat a condition, and some people are using mainly for aesthetic reasons. I'm against that. I am all for the treatment. It's literally saving lives and changing so many people's lives. But for people that take it only for the aesthetic part, like why? Oh, because it silenced my brain, and but this is something that you can learn, and your when you learn it yourself, it's way easier to maintain that in your life without needing that medication. Because if you are only relying on the medication, not understanding that this is a process that involves a lot of change, it's going to be harder for you. You're going to be living through that yo-yo cycle with fauna, which is like, yes, you're going to lose weight if you're taking a medication, or if you're doing that restrictive diet because it gives you a faster result. But then what's going to happen after when you stop taking the medication and you didn't take your time to really work on a mindset shift? You're going to go back, and it's going to be so frustrating because in your mind, you're like, this is the only way I found that it works. So the only way I can lose weight, the only way I can control my cravings, the only way is going either through a restrictive diet, or I don't know, going through like a 21-day program, which yes, involves a strict diet, or the only way I can do this is with a medication. Um, like, no, you can actually, if you take the time. And when I take the time, I am literally talking about like living life and just making small decisions every single day. When we're doing something for the very first time, it's going to be hard because we don't know that thing we're doing for the very first time. It's something new. Our brain is literally saying, what the hell? What's going on? And then when you're doing it for the second time, like let's say workout. Oh, I hate working out. I don't like working out. Yes, the first time you go to a gym, it's uncomfortable. I never met anyone that was like, I loved my first day at the gym. I felt so strong. I felt so like that's my place. Nobody says that because it's literally we get there and we see so many people working out. They know what they're doing. They're strong. There are these crazy machines that you have no idea what you have to do with it. Like, who's gonna feel comfortable? But yes, you go the second day and it's a little better. You go the third day, it's a little better. You go the fourth day and it's a shitty day because there are ups and downs. When we start the journey, people literally expect to do this like a straight ascending line. Like, no, you are gonna have your ups and downs. And we want them to be small because if they're big, then yes, you're gonna be living like the yo-yo effect. But if you have your little ups and downs, and that means being a human being, you're gonna have your good and bad days. Obviously, this is gonna happen in your fitness journey, in your wellness journey, and it's kinda crazy to me because I see that we accept the ups and downs in so many other aspects of our lives. Like, it's okay to have a bad day at work. It's okay to have a bad day in, like, my relationship, like a bad phase. Or it's okay if I haven't been feeling good about myself lately. But when it comes to like your eating and your training, we want to be perfect every day. And when we're not perfect, we are putting ourselves down. We are like, yeah, you can't do this. Oh my gosh, you failed again. Like this is what we're telling ourselves in our mind. And again, what good is going to come out of it? No good. When we put ourselves down, the only way to go is even lower, you know? You're not gonna feel good after talking bad to yourself, after putting yourself down. So you just sometimes you have to literally be more gentle. Even when you are in that phase of like, okay, I am changing my restrictive mindset. So I'm gonna start including chocolate in my day. Obviously, in the beginning, you're gonna eat more than what you'd like. Because you are still training your mind, you're still telling yourself, and you are in the process of understanding that that is available to you every day, so you can get to the point that you really don't care about that thing. And I'm telling you this, and I know sometimes it sounds so easy, and sometimes it might be going through your mind like, oh, it's so easy for her to be saying that. She's a dietitian, and like, no, it wasn't easy. It was not. I was the kid that could eat chocolate every single day. Every single day. It was something so hard to control, so hard. So I went through like the hustle. I know what it is like to crave something and not be able to eat it. And then when you eat it, you can't control it and you're just overeating and you feel so bad. So I know what it's like. And sometimes going through that phase of like eating a little more, it's necessary for you to train your brain and understand that, okay, it's there. Sometimes you will eat it and you'll be like, yeah, it's good, but like, I don't know, maybe I didn't need this today. And then tomorrow, when you go through the same feeling, you're like, well, yesterday I kind of had the same feeling and it wasn't that good when I ate it. So I'll just skip it today. Or I'll just skip it for now. I can always eat it later. And you wait for a time that you're really craving that, so you make that moment, like, literally the best moment of your day. You're eating something you like, it's supposed to be a good moment from the start to end. And then when you overeat, like, okay, I ended up eating a little more than I would like or a lot more than I would like, stop blaming yourself. Like, do not listen to that voice in the back of your head telling you to be guilty because you failed again. Just no, cut that voice. It's just like having a little angel and a little devil on your shoulder. The devil is going to be telling you, like, you failed again. You are overeating. No, you cannot eat sugar because when you tell yourself that you can, you eat too much. No, I will be the little angel in your mind telling you, like, hey, this is the necessary steps that you are going through. You need to go through that to understand that. Yeah, chocolate is available to you or whatever you like. And when you start listening more to this voice and understanding that it's a process, it's a phase, you're going to feel a little more confident. And I will tell you this, um, it's okay to say fuck it sometimes, not as an excuse, but to that little devil on your shoulder. Like, fuck you. I'm not going to listen to you. I literally understand that balance in life involves not only the good part of it, like the healthy eating, the training, the rest days, the good nights of sleep, the drinking water, but it also involves the other side, the socializing, eating things that are not healthy but are important to you because you like them, because it brings you good memories, because you're sharing a moment with your family. This is the other side of balance. And remember, balance is different for everybody. I am talking about chocolate because I love chocolate, but you might be listening to me and you're like, I don't care about chocolate, but talk about burgers. And okay, burgers are your chocolate when it comes to like my cravings or the things I like. So that's why it's so important to listen to ourselves, understand what we like. And then you can really choose the moments that you're going to eat something because again, it's supposed to be a good moment. If you're eating something you like, why are you making that a bad moment for you? Why are you eating in rush? Why are you eating already feeling guilty? Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes we're eating and we're like, "Oh, this is so good." But then in that last bite, you're like, "Oh my, I did it again."
Yeah.
And you're just instantly guilty. So what the
You
hell?
just changed something so important for me. So, hearing you talk about how, in a very realistic way, when you start to allow yourself to eat what you want to eat without that restrictive mindset, chances are that in the beginning, you're going to overdo it. But then you're teaching your mind that, like, yeah, it's not the end of the world and like you can eat it and, that's fine. This small piece changed my mindset completely because here's what I'm thinking. I think that once we start doing it, to your point, let's say, oh, I'm going to eat this one thing and I'm already feeling guilty. The way that I label that is, see, I'm doing this again. I'm going to the other extreme again. It's what I know. It's how I label it. I don't think that that's a sign that I'm in the right path. I think it's a sign that I'm overdoing again. If I overdo it a little bit right in the beginning. So, oh, I wanted to eat one piece of chocolate, I ended up eating two. Like, to me, that's a sign that I'm going to the extreme again. Instead of being a sign that, wait a second, I'm in the process of training my mind and, tomorrow's going to be a new day. I'm aware and I'm creating this space, whatever. I feel like the moment that you understand that, and I like what you said earlier, like there's a point A, B, C, D, and you cannot just expect to skip them. I feel like that lifts a huge weight out of my shoulders, you know? So, and again, obviously, I'm thinking from the perspective of someone who is committed to this, who cares about this, not just like who's going to come up with excuses. But I don't know. I think because we're so quick to label that as a sign of us going through that same path again, we don't see what's on the other side. We just go back to the extreme. So I like this realistic perspective because I've been seeing dietitians since I'm 10 years old. And I think it was, on one hand, an important process because today I look at myself and I look at my friends and I think about my nutrition much more, my health, and like in a good way, So I think it was an important process, but at the same time, I was 10 years old hearing, oh, instead of eating a chocolate, eat an apple. And I'm like, I don't, but
Not the same.
I'm like, not to say, like, I like the apple, and I'm a 10-year-old kid. Like, Um,
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, if I'm eating the chocolate, not the apple, let alone if I'm eating two pieces of chocolate, not one, then that's wrong. So I don't know. I think
Yeah.
this realistic perspective of it's a process, and I think this applies to everything in life. It's a process. You don't have to do everything or be, from 0 to 100 overnight. So
Yeah.
it sounds, yeah, it's a process that requires like patience, compassion with ourselves, and
Compassion. We forget about this part so often. We don't have it with ourselves, actually.
mm,
We are constantly obligating ourselves to follow this diet or follow this training program. And we don't even literally think about how we're feeling. Again, we're going to have bad days. We're going to have days that we're just tired or we're feeling sick or like your work is weighing heavy on you. And obviously, we're human beings, so we're not going to have the same energy every day to put on our training or on our eating. It's different. And I'll tell you more because when you allow yourself, you are gonna give a new meaning to the things you love the most. So today, chocolate is, yes, I love it, but it okay. I'm gonna put it this way, it doesn't taste as good as it did when it was something I couldn't have, you know? It was more special. I'll tell you. It is different when you allow yourself because you create more space to actually perceiving? Is that the word? Like, to actually you're
Yeah.
paying more attention
Mhm.
to the experience, you know? So, let me explain it a better way. Do you like wine? Do you drink wine?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. There is a whole ritual when it comes to drinking wine, right? From, like, you looking at the label, and there's even an app that you take a picture of your wine bottle and you have all the information like how many stars, where is it from, how old is it, and there is that whole thing of like grabbing a glass and you pour a little bit and you smell and then you like you turn how do you call that, what do you call that,
You like
you d-
I don't like, it's you don't I don't have no idea. I was gonna say you stir it, but it's not like you're
yeah, yeah, you're not stirring, but you know you're holding your glass and you're making circles with your glass and then you taste it and you're like, yes, I taste the cinnamon and the dirt and the like, you're literally tasting the wine. And when we're eating something that we love, we tend to eat it so quick that when you're done, you're just like, no way, I wanted more. But you know that for you to actually enjoy a glass of wine, you only need a glass. It's a glass. I think it's a fair amount, you know? You're not over drinking. I know some people do, but for you to taste a glass of wine and enjoy the moment and share this moment with someone you love or with yourself, you kind of only need a glass. And it's the same thing, like the same thing we can apply for when we're eating chocolate, and this is how I take my chocolate moment. And again, I'm talking about chocolate because I love chocolate, but think about the food you love. Eat it like you are drinking a glass of wine. Make it special. Even if it's like the cheapest thing in the world, like you could be eating like fast food or whatever, and you're gonna realize that, first of all, that thing does not taste as good as I thought. In some days, okay, there are some chocolates that I buy and I'm like, that's not as good, you know? But if it was something that I was restricting myself from, I would be eating so quick and I would be only thinking about that sugar and you having that sugar rush. And I wouldn't even realize that maybe that's not the best chocolate in the world, you know? And I don't know, think about other foods like a dessert
Mm.
or even like a, a, a pasta dish. Like, is it the right temperature? Is there the right amount of salt? Do you like the cheese? Like, do you ask yourself these questions? Are you even there? Are you present when you're eating? Like you're tasting a glass of wine? Are you paying attention to all the like sensory stimulus you can have? Sometimes we're not because we are so stuck in our minds thinking about the the diet we're cheating or how we shouldn't be eating or drinking that we don't even enjoy what we're eating.
Yeah.
And then when you silence this voice, you actually create the space to understand if you really like that or not. And by doing that, you actually realize how many things you're eating that you really don't even care about. Like I used to say I love every single dessert because like my weakness is like sweets. No. Now I understand that it's actually not. I mean, I'm very like picky when it comes to which sweets I'm gonna eat. Because some things I look at and I'm like, yeah, that's good, but it's not that good. So I really don't care about it. I could eat it if I wanted to, because the decision at the end of the day, it I will be making. And you put everything in your internal scale, you know. So I think about when I'm internally weighing my decisions, I'm thinking like, okay, for example, I love going to this French cafe to work. Whenever I have, like, a lot of computer stuff, I just go there, and they do have, like, the most beautiful French pastries ever. Like, you look at it and they're just wow. They're nice to look at, but in my internal scale, it's like, "Yeah, that looks good," but the only good thing that's gonna come out of me eating this is literally the moment. So if it's not something I fully enjoy, what's the point? I'm just gonna wait until something more yummy comes in my way. Because the world we live in today, there are so many opportunities everywhere. Like everywhere. Food is everywhere all the time. And when it's not, it's one click away from your phone. Like you can just click a button and
100%.
it's gonna come to your door. So it's so easy, you know? And what do you really want? When you are restricting yourself, you don't listen to this. You don't even know what you want. You just you're just prohibited to eat something you're not allowed. And then when you are allowed, you just eat it and you don't even consider if is it that good? I'm eating this chocolate cake. Is it dry? Is it too sweet? What do I taste? This is called the mindful eating. It's like to put a label on it is the good and old mindful eating. And it's sometimes it sounds silly, like, oh, smell your food, look at your food, you know, touch it and give it a small bite. And what do you taste? And it's a whole ritual, but it is so important for you to tune in with what really makes sense to you and what doesn't. Like, in this process, I found out that I really don't care about ice cream. And everybody's like, "I love ice cream." And in our minds, we think, "Okay, ice cream is so good. Yes, I love ice cream. Everybody's eating ice cream, so am I." It's so hard for me to say yes to an ice cream because I found out that I don't care about it. I don't. I care about chocolate, but ice cream is just
But this opens a whole conversation that just goes beyond eating, which is awareness. And it's so crazy to me when I hear things like this. I'm like, it's crazy how much we live lives really on autopilot, not
Mhm.
caring about being aware of what we're doing, of what we like. I remember that, like, even with style, like one time I had a stylist and she sent you like a questionnaire of things that you like and that you don't like in colors. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know the types of, like I can't answer the things that I like. And it's so wild because you get dressed every single day. How come you don't know
Yes.
what colors you don't like? And it was such a process that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And with food, and it goes to every area and aspect of life, it's crazy how many things we do not being present. And I think we miss on the opportunity to even know ourselves, know what we like, know what we,
Really,
right? Like,
and really.
with food, that's so true, and here I feel like, I don't know, I go to work and, like, the day is super busy, so I just heat up my food, I eat while I'm working. I'm not even paying it like, I don't even know what I'm eating at that point. I'm just,
Mhm.
"Okay, I gotta eat something, so this is what I'm gonna do," and that's it. So, the awareness piece and, like, the mindful eating, I think that's
It's so important.
important. Yeah.
You talked about the clothing part and think about eating. Like, you dress yourself, like, once a day, let's say, to go to work. Because let's say that you don't
Mhm, mhm.
want to into staying at home or whatever. What about eating? Like, we eat 3, 4, 5 times a day, and you're not there. You're just and I know this because I do, like, the calls and I work with, like, making meal plans for people, like, bringing this, like, non-diet perspective. But it's very challenging because I wanna understand how your day works, like, what time you're doing what and what you're eating here and what's available to you, what's easy to you, like, so I can plan something that it's actually achievable. A lot of people don't even know. I'm like, "Hey, what do you like to have for breakfast? Like, what do you usually do?" Let me think."
Mhm,
You don't know.
mhm.
Come on. You're literally fully fueling, right, your body because food is energy, and it's either energy our body's gonna use against us? Not really against us, but
Right.
it's food that, yes, they have calories, but they don't have the nutrients we
Mhm.
need. This is what I don't know if we can say this in English, but in Portuguese, we call empty calories. We're bringing energy, we're bringing calories, but we're not bringing nutrients. So I love the concept of, like, fueling your body. Your body needs fuel. It's just like a car, you know, if you're gonna put diesel on, like, a regular gas,
Mhm.
it's not gonna work. You're gonna break your car.
Yeah.
So, long term, when we do this with food and we're not nourishing ourselves, but we're eating a lot of calories, our body is gonna, like, stop working the way it's supposed to at some point.
Yeah.
So, I love this idea because it's like, yes, let me nourish myself. Let me eat the foods that will actually be good for me. My body will use for whatever I need to do during the day and to work properly, you know?
Mhm.
And being present is a big part of that,
Yeah.
you know? From the choosing to actually enjoying your food and talking about actually physiology, like how your brain we kinda forget or we just ignore the fact that our mind is connected to our body, you know? We just think that, yes, if I do this, I'll be great. And you forget that your mind plays a huge part on it. So when you're eating and you're distracted, like you're eating your lunch and you're working, you are not allowing your brain to understand that you are eating. So it doesn't know. That's why sometimes when we're eating, watching TV or scrolling, we're going to overeat because we don't know how much we're eating and our brain is not actually getting that signal that you are like satisfied, that you are there's a word for it, that you're full. We don't understand that. Because there's a whole process in your body happening. So we need to have attention. We need to literally stop what we're doing and eat and pay attention to our plate of food, to whatever we're eating, you know? And this makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's little things. And these are the little things I was talking about. When we want to change the lifestyle, you're not going to change everything from like one day, like tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna be a completely different person. I'm gonna do this completely different. It's just gonna be so hard on you. Imagine, like, if you wake up tomorrow and you're used to a life that you don't know what you're eating for breakfast. Let's say you skip breakfast, you go to drive through every morning. You're eating fast food for lunch. You are sedentary, so you spend all day sitting at work, at home, you don't do anything, no exercise whatsoever. And then tomorrow you get up and you're like, yes, I am going to make myself a green juice in the morning. No drive-throughs for me. I am not going to eat my lunch. I'm not going to eat fast food. I'm going to cook this salad and I'm going to now pay attention and then I'm going to eat my I'm sorry, I'm going to drink my like 2 liters of water a day and I'm going to eat all the grams of protein I need, and then I'm gonna work out 7 days a week. And now I used to sleep 5 hours a day, but I need to sleep at least 8 hours. So yes, I'm gonna add 3 hours. Like, your body will be like, "What are we doing? Who are
Yeah.
you? This is not, like, your
Mhm.
life." And it's gonna be way harder for you to maintain that because your brain doesn't even know what's going there's so many things going on at the same time. There's so much information and so many different things that you have to put the effort into each one of them because they're new.
Yeah.
We're not talking about habits that you develop from, like, overnight. You don't. So that's why the little steps are so important because every little thing you start doing, you have more space to make that into a habit. So when we transform a new activity into a habit, there is less effort involved. So you have more effort to putting something new, to create a new routine, to do something different that will help you move from like letter C to letter D. And that's how it goes. It's so much easier on yourself. And there is less suffering because you're actually allowing yourself to understand what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Because remember, we're pursuing also a healthy life. We're not only here for the aesthetics. Yes, we wanna look good, we wanna feel good, but we also wanna be happy and we wanna live life. So, if we do if we take the time to change one little thing at a time, we are gonna be much happier. We're gonna see more consistent results because we're giving ourselves space to create a habit. And again, when we create a habit, we have less effort involved. So you have more effort, like in your effort.
Bucket.
Yes. Or put into something else, into something new.
Yeah, to that point, because it's when you want it to be consistent and really be a life change, like a lifestyle change, it takes time, right? And you have to have some patience with yourself, which is hard to have. What are some of the ways that people can feel like they're on the right track and like have these milestones? Because it's not going, their bodies are not going to change overnight. And
Mhm.
because it's not, maybe some people will be like, okay, this is not working. Okay, I'm not where I wanted to be. And then they spiral and they're like, okay, so I'm going to stop everything. because it's such a long process, how can we have these milestones and be like, yeah, I'm actually progressing and I'm on the right track?
So there are 2 things I think of. Um, the first one is, like, take progress photos. But your progress sometimes actually, I'm not gonna say sometimes. When you choose this path of, like, doing one little thing at a time and being more gentle to yourself and understanding that we need balance in life, you're not gonna have that result that a shortcut will give you. So don't frustrate yourself with the thought that you would have the same result because you're not going to. Okay. That's not necessarily a bad thing because remember, the results, when we take shortcuts, they're not lasting. They're not very lasting. So whenever we stop doing what we started to do to get that fast result, we're just going to go back to our old bodies. And sometimes we actually gain more weight than what we started with. So keep this in mind and take your progress photos like every 3 months, every 6 months. I don't know, because we need time. Everybody's different. And whatever small thing we're talking about, sometimes it's smaller for some people, sometimes it's a little more for others. So again, we're different. And I think that's nice because we're looking at ourselves in the mirror and we're like, yeah, my body's not changing. Yeah, my body's still the same. But then when we put one picture, one photo next to the other, it's like, "Oh, wow, actually, I see that my arms are, like, thinner or my waist is, like, slimmer," and you kinda see it, and you're actually like, "Okay, this is working. This is working." But you made inf like, your question was so important because sometimes we don't see the progress and sometimes it takes time, and before we actually see the progress, we are already questioning ourselves, and when we question ourselves, we give up on everything. We're like, "This is not working, so I'm gonna stop." And before we see the aesthetic results, like when we look in the mirror, we are gonna do a little, like it's not like a dynamic, it's just a reminder. Let's say it's a daily or weekly or whenever you need a reminder that you are on the right path. So you're just gonna grab like a little small container in your house, whatever you have, and for every small win, you're gonna write it down in a lot like small piece of paper. You fold it and you put it there. And I don't care how small it is, it's still a win. And we usually don't do that. We're always, again, remember, we're putting ourselves down all the time. When we do something right, it's like, okay, you didn't do more than your job. Like,
Mhm.
that's what you should have done. And when we do something wrong, we're like beating ourselves up for it. We're like, yes, you failed again. And again, it's not good. So we are going to switch that energy because we are going to spend energy anyways. If we're going to use our energy, let's use it for something good. And you're gonna not focus on what you are not doing right. You're gonna focus on what you're doing right. So it's a little switch. Instead of looking this way, you're gonna look this way. Okay, let's forget about this for a moment. And you're gonna write every small win. Like, I worked out once. Okay, that's better than zero. You know? If you're sedentary and you're going once a week, or if you started going once a month, that's better than last month that you went like 0 times. So yeah, write down your small wins. Like, I included broccoli in my lunch. Better than eating no vegetables at all. I actually drank 1 extra cup of water. Like, every single thing counts. And when it comes to this balanced lifestyle and the anti-diet life, you're gonna lean on the small things you do, you know? So every small little thing you do counts. Don't say it's, "Ah, that's too small. Oh, that's not gonna make a difference." Well, maybe after a day or after a week, yeah, you won't see that big of a difference. But can you imagine doing this and then after a year, how different you could be? You know? So, what is the small thing you can do today? And write it down, put it in your little jar, your, let's call it, I don't know, the wind jar or I don't know.
I love it.
If you guys have a better name, just tell us,
Yeah.
please. But we need to remind ourselves of the small steps we're taking. And when you're feeling down, when you are questioning yourself, and when you're like, this is not working, just, hello, where are you, my little jar? You're going to bring me up now because I need you. And you're going to read your wins. You're going to read it and you're going to remind yourself that you're putting effort, you know?
Mhm.
And every effort you're putting, it's going to be important for your journey.
Yeah.
And that involves, yes, reminding yourself, being more gentle, and again, looking this way, like the positive way, the good side, what you're doing right, instead of focusing on what you're lacking, on what still not good enough for you. Maybe you could also write it down so you can have it as a goal. Like my goal is not to eat that whole bar of chocolate a day, but if you start eating half, it's a win. Write it down. I'm eating half of the chocolate I was eating. Or even if it's like two-thirds, you're still eating less than what you were eating. Like, again, you're going from point A to point B, and you need to be at point B for a while. So be nice to yourself and understand that, okay, I am here. I'm not happy that I'm here. But it doesn't mean I'm gonna be here forever. I just need some time to get used to being in point B, and I need to recover from walking from point A to point B. And when I have the energy again, I'm gonna go to C. And this is how your journey is. And remember, we're getting to Z, but remember an infinite alphabet because the journey is never ending. And I remember thinking about that when I was in nutrition school because I was like, I was going through all kinds of restrictive diets you guys can think of, all kinds. I've done everything. I've tried everything. And I remember having a very specific thought, because I think I was like week into like this diet, and I was suffering. It was so hard. Every day was so hard. And I was like, okay, I have my goal with this diet, but what am I gonna do after this diet is like done? Because diets usually they have a start date and an ending date. So you're like, it doesn't even make sense because what are you gonna do after the day it ends? You're just gonna go back to your normal life and then you're gonna lose everything you gained, or what's the point? You know? And I remember having this like overwhelming feeling of like failure. And I was 1 week in that diet, and I was already failing because in my mind, it's like, "Okay, but when I'm done, I'm done, and I'm not gonna be doing this when I'm done." Literally, I don't wanna see any of these foods in front of me when I'm done. I will overeat so much because I'm constantly hungry,
Mhm.
you
It
know? So
snowballs. Yeah, you're like, "Okay," and all of a sudden
yeah,
you're overwhelmed.
and that actually made me realize that there is no ending. And in that time, that no ending feeling was so, like I don't even have words to describe it.
Mhm.
I was sad, I was angry, I was overwhelmed, I was frustrated. But today, it's calming to know this because, yes, I'll always be pursuing a better body. There is never gonna be a point that we're gonna be completely I mean, we're happy, we're satisfied, but we still wanna
Yeah.
see changes. So when you make peace with that, you actually have more energy to live your life and weigh the decisions in your internal scale without thinking about the result you're gonna have, the goal you're gonna have, that day that you're looking for to like
Yeah.
end this diet, you know?
It's so
Oh,
exhausting. It's so
I
exhausting. You
know.
live
I'm tired just
Yeah.
from talking about
Uh-huh,
it.
it's exhausting, and you live a whole life, like, that's the center of your life, you're thinking about it every single day, every single time, every single minute of the day, every time you're gonna eat, but also every time after you eat, because 'cause you're like,
Mhm.
"I shouldn't." Oh my gosh, it's so exhausting, and so many people live this way because just the struggle and the guilt, and it's
Right?
exhausting.
It is. It is exhausting. And people say or think that this is the only way for you to be healthy and for you to have results. I am here to prove the
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah.
The very opposite. Because I never felt stronger, not only talking about my mind, but also my
That's
body.
so nice.
Because I was constantly pursuing a better body, stronger, leaner, and
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. it was always so frustrating because I was literally the moments I was trying my hardest on a diet
Mhm.
were the moments that I was the unhappiest.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And literally looking back at pictures, I didn't have the, what do you call it? Distorção de imagem.
Like, body body
Body
dysmorphia?
dysmorphia.
Mhm.
Yes. I didn't have that. I was actually, like, overweight, and I wasn't where I wanted to be with all the effort I was putting in. And today, living, like, more comfortably, like, yes, if I have a craving, I will eat it, and I will bring all that, like, ritual, like the wine tasting thing, and you will just live life with everything you're building, and we're still building. But it's crazy to think that I am happier, I am, like, feeling lighter, and my body is the strongest and the better it's ever been.
Yeah. That feeling to me is so amazing. I of my body is strong. Because to me, it used to be always like, is my body slim? Am I skinny? And then this year I trained for a marathon and I'm like, oh my God, I
Wow.
was so like I was so I cannot explain like how connected I was to my body to be like, my body can do this. This is crazy. And I felt so strong and I felt so like appreciative of my body, not as, like being against it and it has to be a certain way and I have to change it, but like, oh my gosh, look what my body can do. And one thing that I wanted to talk about is on the health aspect, right? So going beyond the appearance, I see some people that are extremely healthy because and have chosen a very healthy lifestyle because they grew up with parents who did not care about that. So they saw their parents at a very early age having heart diseases or having whatever sort of conditions or not being able to do like things like walking a long distance and like, being part of certain family plans. Um and that motivated them to pursue a healthy journey. I see your mom on social media, and she's such a queen, so fit.
She's so pleased.
It's so funny in the video that you're, like, showing your arms, like, "Hey, mom, I just trained my arms today," whatever, and then she just, like, has double the size of your bicep, which is
Literally.
iconic. But does that like, what's your family background when it comes to that? Like, is your mom? Because I don't know, she looks pretty healthy, but I don't know, is she pretty healthy? How does that influence the way that you see aging? I wanna focus on that part and, like, caring about aging healthy.
Yes, I love that, and I actually think this is so important because we need to have a reason why we are doing this. And if we're doing only for the appearance, we're not gonna last that long. Even people that are doing for the appearance, like let's say bodybuilders, they have a bigger reasoning behind everything. So I love thinking about this because I grew up in a household that, looking back, I think was kind of balanced. Okay. Because my parents would always work out. They would go to the gym. Like my mom, from Monday to Friday, she would go to her workout and then she would drop us off at school. So she even says it to this day. She's like, that was my moment of the day, so I could literally not go crazy. So, yes, I grew up with that background. Like, they would be not controlling with their eating, especially because, like, back in the day, it was different. Like, they would eat bread. We would have pizza on the weekends. It wasn't crazy. Like, I think in 2014 to 2015 when everything kinda, like, started, the low carb, um, like, diet, and
Yeah.
didn't grow up with this. I kinda grew up in a balanced household. I remember my mom had, like, the soup days. I hated vegetable I was
I
that
had
as
that
a
too. Yes.
kid. I literally I could eat Doritos and chocolate every day, all the time, every meal. So, I had, like, a hard time. I actually couldn't eat vegetables, salads, even, like, meat was hard for me. So, I was a picky eater. It was hard. There was a time that my mom was like, "Okay, I give up on you. Like, what do I do?" And I remember going to, like, our periodic consultations with our pediatric,
Yeah.
and he was, like, giving me the pep talk, like, "Hey, you need to eat your vegetables. Hey, you need to eat," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, just stop talking, please, because I know what I have to do, but I'm not going to. I don't like it," and my mom tried, like, she tried her hardest. So even though I was growing up in that setting, there were some things that didn't come naturally for me. And what I love to see today was actually what motivated my mom to go through a different route, which was like my grandma, because she's like very sedentary, no exercise, and she has great genes, but she has so much pain. She has the heart conditions. Like, if she took care of herself just a little bit, she could be like, she's 82 today and she's actually thriving. That's why I'm like, what? Your genes are great. And actually, our genes, yay.
Yeah.
Because if you did just a little effort, you could have been so much better. And when I say better, it's like the quality of life. You could be feeling better, like no pain, like feeling high energy, waking up and feeling good. And this is the whole motivation. So my mom went through this route. Like, it helped a lot because, yes, I was growing up and I was like that chubby kid that had to go play tennis or swim or go to ballet. I tried everything.
Mhm.
I was that kid that was just, like, sitting there like, "Oh my gosh, I don't wanna be here. I don't like
Mhm.
Mom, can I skip, please?" And it would always be like, "No, you need to go. You're going," you know? And then when we grow up and we understand, like, why, it gets a little easier. And I say a little because with everything that's happening right now with social media and all the rules that the diet culture brings us, it gets harder because it's what you said, we're questioning ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
We don't accept that we're different.
Yeah.
Sometimes someone says something, oh, like, you should be doing this to lose weight. And you're like, oh, I have to be doing this.
Yeah.
And you don't even take the time or the energy to really understand if that makes sense to you. Like, oh, for you to lose weight, you should be working out in the morning. Let's just say that. And then you're watching that, but you work early in the morning. And if you were to work out early in the morning, you would have to get up at like 4, 3 a.m. I don't know. It's just something that wouldn't fit in your routine. But right now, you're frustrated because you're like, this is the only way to lose weight. This is like the only way I can do this, and you're already struggling. Or sometimes you even try to wake up at 3, 4 in the morning to work out because that's the only way to lose weight. No, it's not. People are different. We have different settings, like circumstances. We have different routines. We have different preferences. We have different bodies. We have different genetics. We have different everything. How can you tell me that there is only one way to do something? No, there is maybe the best way for you, which
Yeah.
is the way that works for you today in your setting. And that setting can change in like a week. If you change your job, your life is gonna change, so you're gonna find another system that works for you. That's the best way to achieve your goals and to actually live a healthy life, you know?
Yeah.
I switched the question a little bit because you asked me about my background.
Yeah, no, but the reason too why I asked about your mom is that because I think that for us when we're younger, like 20s, I think mostly 20s and before, I don't think this is something that we care too much about because we're like, "Oh, I don't have to think if in the future," like it doesn't cross my mind that maybe in the future getting out of bed might be hard. Like, it
You're
doesn't
right.
cross my mind that because it seems so far away, but it's the choices that we make today that are gonna impact how we age and stuff like that. So I think that I don't know, sometimes when I look at videos and pictures of your mom, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I wanna be like that," when I'm older and all of that. So I think that
Yes.
the health aspect is one that sometimes we don't give a lot of attention to, but it's very important. Um,
It is hard to think of something that hasn't happened yet.
yeah,
Like you said, it's so far, but sometimes it's not that far.
yeah.
You thought about, like, young people, like, in their 20s, like, early 20s or maybe, like, late 20s, early 30s, and they're like, "Oh, my back is hurting. Oh, I have no energy. Like, I feel so down. Oh, I
Mhm.
can't sleep well. I can't function throughout the day." Like, this is literally, like, the results of maybe living a sedentary life. Because if you were working out your back and making sure that your back was strong to hold your body and your core, you wouldn't be feeling back pain. You wouldn't be having back pain because you're strong. You're building that. And sometimes we don't even know that
Yes.
this is leads to that pain or to that discomfort we're going through,
Or
you know,
that's
like
not even normal. Like we feel like, oh, this is normal for me, so this should like this is how people live their lives. And you're like, wait, not everybody feels this back pain in their 20s. Like it's it goes back to the awareness piece. And then I feel like, especially here, I don't know, I have this opinion in this country, then you go see a doctor or something or someone and they're gonna give you all the shortcuts. Like, oh, you're having issues going to the bathroom. Here's all this fiber that you can take. It's like, don't you why don't you consider telling this person, "Hey, how's your diet?"
yeah,
It's like,
you drink
"No, just
water.
drink this one thing." "Oh, you're not eating vegetables? Just drink this green powder." And I'm like, "What?" Like, but again, sometimes I said we're not even aware that that's going on, that that's not normal, and then we're not aware of the some people are not aware of the long-term solution that they can take. So I feel like that's why conversations like these are important. I wanted to ask you 2 more things to wrap up. One is you mentioned social media a few times, and I have the feeling this might be a personal thing, this might be just my algorithm, but I have a feeling that most recently, the whole content around being skinny at whatever cost has become more popular again. I feel like we went through a phase that it was more like you couldn't even say the word skinny because that was,
Yes.
you know? And then now I feel like we're going back to another extreme. Again, might be my own algorithm, but sometimes it scares me because I see certain content that is like, oh, I only have the essentials in my fridge. And then it's just like an Ozempic
Oh,
and whatever, and like something else or like something else. Or I don't know. How do I explain to someone that the most important thing in my life is being skinny without sounding like a bitch? Like they're proud of saying that. And it scares me because I'm like, you have so many young people on social media watching this type of content. And I don't really like, I'm not afraid of the word skinny. If you like to be skinny, I think that's like good for you, not a problem. Totally fine. But putting that above everything else and
mhm.
promoting some habits that are not the healthiest, maybe, I think it's
Yeah.
kind of tricky. What's do you have the same feeling? Do you feel like that's something that we're leaning towards? And how do you feel about that?
1,000%. I have no doubts that this is where we're going. And it's so concerning to me because we're missing the point. You know, it's like we are losing our values, what's really important. Because the skinny at any cost is going to cost your muscle mass. And your muscle mass is so important for your health. And not only this, but and whoever is taking the medication to like literally not eat throughout the day, you're not fueling your body. Like there is no nutrients for your body to use. What is it using? It's using your muscle mass. And then if you ever go through like an accident and you need to go to the ICU, you're going to be in a bad spot, like really bad spot. And I know that it's crazy to say this because you're like, "Oh, that's not going to happen." It can. I mean, it can. And we're talking about this while we're young, but you're gonna get old, hopefully, because if you don't, then we know what happened. And how do you wanna get old with quality of life? And again, that's why I'm saying we're missing the point because we're putting the appearance above everything else. We're not really realizing, um how important it is to have your bodies functioning the way it's supposed to function. We have no idea how important it is to work on your strength, for your physical health, for you to be able to hold your body up, for you to be able to like not only run a marathon, but sometimes go around the block, go walk 20, 30 an hour. And people are missing that. And I get so sad because I feel like the whole nutrition and the whole like working on our body composition is being reduced to like the smallest you can get and the less you can eat. So yeah, count your calories and you're gonna be super lean. Like as if this was everything that matters.
Yeah.
And when it's so much more than that, because and I do have my program, and it's like the no diet method,
Mhm.
which I teach people how to like live life without needing to go on a diet. So it's so freeing. And I do like the monthly online calls and meetings. And it's so funny because at the end of every meeting, people are like, oh my gosh, that was more like a therapy session. Because, yes, and it's actually supposed to be because it all comes down to us as human beings. We are not machines that are gonna eat and then we're gonna look at a certain way and that's it. That's it. No, you're limiting yourself. There's so much more, you know? There are moments that we share with people. There is our mental health, how you feel about yourself throughout the day. And I'm not talking about the physical appearance. I'm talking about like internally and how you feel physically. How do you get up in the morning? Do you have energy? Do you sleep good? You know, what can you do? Can you lift a 30-pound dumbbell? Can you do a squat? That's going to be important at some point in your life. And we're missing that. So I am sad, but I'm also here. And I know a lot of people are sharing the same perspective. And I know a lot of great dietitians and personal trainers, like trainers that are going against this, like this new era
Yeah.
of focusing only on skinny.
Yeah. That's important to have, you know, other voices on the internet that are
So
promoting
excited.
other things. Yeah. Um, this is a good segue to my last question, which because you briefly mentioned about your program and you know how it feels like more of a therapy session sometimes. If someone were to have a consultation with you today and say in 2026, my biggest goal is to change my life, like to change my habits, to become healthier, to start paying more attention to what I eat. What would you how would you conduct that conversation? What are the things that you would maybe challenge this person to think about? What can they take other than everything that you shared to this point, which everything was extremely helpful? What else could they expect from a conversation like this with you?
You know, that's a tricky question. And I see so many people that expect this answer right away. This is what I feel in my program though, because like, it's not, I say that it's not a cake recipe. We have this expression in
Yeah,
Portuguese
that's
to
good.
kind of say that something is not like
A one size
direct.
fits all, like a one, right? Like a it's baked for
Exactly.
everybody.
Yes. Remember, and this is key, okay, in this process, we are all different. So sometimes what I need to focus on is different on what you need to focus on, you know? Yes, we have similar needs, but we're going to be at different phases, stages of life, and even the perspective that we have on this like new way of seeing this journey is different and we are at different stages of that because it is a switch. It's not a switch that you can just turn on, turn off. It's sometimes it's a process. You're going to change some things and then you're going to still keep thinking like the old ways and then you're going to be like, "No, but I can think like this." And you're switching little things for you to actually understand what it means to like stay away from the diet culture. So it is hard to tell what each person can do. But I would say something that is, again, really important. Listen to yourself because we don't when we are pursuing that. We expect someone to give us instructions, clear instructions. And if you think about the healthy life, it's kind of like common sense. We know what to do and we know what to not do. Like, you know that you need to eat more vegetables. You know that you need to eat more salad. You know that you need to watch out for sweets, for drinks. You know that you need to exercise more. Sometimes we cannot even do the basics because we don't have a system that is set, that is easy for us to follow. So start with the basics, listen to yourself, pay attention to your needs, understand what's hard, and understand what's easy. Focus on the easy, doing the easy part first. And then when you get used to this, okay, let me start doing one hard thing now. Let me see how I feel. Let me understand this because it's a lot of trial and error. You're gonna maybe try a new workout that you hate, or you're gonna try a new workout that you're like, wow, I actually found myself in this place, you know? And same with foods. You're gonna try this new recipe, and then you're gonna be like, I hate this. I'm never doing this again. Or you're like, no way, this is so easy. It's so good. And I feel so nourished and full. I'm happy with this. So yeah, I'll be doing this more times. So you're gonna allow yourself to have the trial and error, especially the error part. Because again, when we start this process, we expect to be perfect. We're like, let me start this and I'm not gonna fail. But come on, you're not allowing yourself to understand what makes sense and what doesn't make sense for you. You're just trying to be perfect and then in the unknown. What? Do you hate yourself? No, you don't. You're doing this because you love yourself, and you have to remember this. Everything you do in this journey needs to be out of love for you, because if it is out of
Mhm.
hate, you are not gonna sustain that in your life, and you're gonna hate waking up to go to the gym. You're gonna hate making a healthy meal because in your mind is like, "I have to do this because I'm only gonna love myself when I'm skinny or when I'm fit," or no. You only have one body, you have to love yourself. Maybe you're not where you wanna be, you're not at the best place, but we can work, like, to make a change in this, you know? And if you literally do this, having more compassion and love for yourself, you're gonna do it the right way because you're gonna be way more caring and nice to yourself than you were when you were literally hating yourself. So I know it's a really broad answer, but I think each person can apply this in their life. And I know that we are like in the digital era, but, and yes, you can also journaling on your phone, but I love journaling. Like I have two journals. One is like almost done with, and it's just big. It's a big, like, notebook. Write it down, because a lot of thoughts and feelings come up, and if you don't like journaling or try therapy, or if you can't afford therapy because I know it's expensive, talk to yourself, you know, in the car, in the shower, just put it out there, because sometimes we have thoughts, and when we say them out loud, you're like, "Oh, okay, you know,
Mhm.
I understand this better now." And this whole journey is a lot about getting to know yourself.
Mhm.
If you're only focusing on following a rule or focusing on following what someone is telling you to do, or like a piece of paper, you know, that's a diet, and that diet is telling you to eat this and that, you're never going to listen to yourself. So look internally, like, is that a word?
Yeah, inward, internally, yeah.
Yes, look more inward and you're going to find out a whole new world. Trust me.
Amen. Manu, thank you so much. This was great, super helpful, and I loved having you as a guest.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. It was so much fun, and I could actually be sitting here for another half hour, 1.5 hours.
Yes, I love it. Thank
Thank
you.
you for inviting me. It was so nice to be here today and being able to share this different perspective, and I hope it helps a lot of people.